There are 42 million known CSA survivors in the USA. 95% CSA is preventable through education. Typical a pedophile will commit 117 crimes in their lifetime. Victims have lifelong issues with nightmares and quality of sleep. Most people think of CSA like this, and I will show a graph of what they think of it when they think about CSA. And the sad part is a lot of people don't even know what CSA is and the stats on that, which is why, again, I'm doing this. I'm gonna go dive deep in this, so bear with me. Stick with me. Welcome to Tête-à-tête, a space for truth, healing, and hope. And I'm your host, Smith. Today, I'm going to talk to you guys about CSA. And my claim today is that whatever you guys have been seeing from the stats, I believe it's 2 to 3 times worse than what you guys have seen. And so I have a few claims to back that up. But first, I want to read you guys some stats, and just so we can get on like a level playing field. For those of you perhaps who don't know how just crazy, how rampant this whole CSA is right now, whether it's SA or CSA, but today specifically we're going to talk about CSA. So I want to read you guys some stats, and all my stats, I got them from reputable places such as RAIN, and I also get some stuff from so I got rain.org. I have victimsofcrime.org. I have lawrencekids.org. Again, rain, RAINN.org. So you guys more than welcome to go check out those websites and fact check me or whatever you'd like to do. So I just wanted to put that out there today. So let's start by reading some of the stats from those websites, just so we can start the conversation, right? Again, my claim is whatever those websites are saying, I think it's way worse than that, 2 to 3 times worse. And I'll prove it to you in just a moment. But first, let's read some of the stats. So CSA stats: 2 out of 3 sexual assaults are unreported. 2 out of 3. 25 out of 1,000 sexual perpetrators will go to jail. The rest, they walk free. They're free, meaning they can go and do the same thing over and over and over again. Only 25. Every 9 minutes, CPS finds evidence for a sexual abuse claim. 93% of perpetrators are known to victims, meaning they're not strangers off the streets who just came out of nowhere and, perform unwilling and unwanted sexual activities on them. There are 42 million known CSA survivors in the USA. 95% CSA is preventable through education. Typical a pedophile will commit 117 crimes in their lifetime. Victims have lifelong issues with nightmares and quality of sleep. Most people think of CSA like this, and I will show a graph of what they think of it when they think about CSA. And the sad part is a lot of people don't even know what CSA is and the stats on that, which is why, again, I'm doing this. I'm gonna go dive deep in this, so bear with me, stick with me. Victims have lifelong issues with nightmares and quality of sleep. So my claim, actually, so remember the CSA little chart, the pie chart that people think that it looks like, I just showed it to you. Now, my claim of what it actually looks like will look a little bit like this. So before I go any further, right? So you hear about those stats. I just read them off to you. And for those of you who didn't know, now you a little bit accustomed to what CSA is and how prevalent it is in our society now. And now we're talking about the US. Eventually, I will talk a little bit about me coming from Haiti, how things were. And I can guarantee you that it's worse there. It's worse in a third world country than it is in the first world country. Just trust me on that. Now, quick little sidebar. I am writing a book on CSA. My experience, how it affected me and how I got over it. And obviously I'm saying that right now. I want you guys to stay tuned because I believe that it will help you. Who will this book help? This book will help somebody who knows somebody who's been through it, somebody who is going through it, somebody who has a family, a father, a mother. Because in this book, I talk about who to stay away from, who committed those acts on me. It's a little bit surreal, if I'm going to be honest with you. Reason why, and I'm going to be open with you guys. So there's me talking about this right now. I don't blame anybody for not wanting to do that, because for the longest time, I never wanted to do it. It was my deep secret. It was the one secret that I was going to go to the grave with. And the people who knew about it was enough. The perpetrator. And for me, this stat talked about 93% of perpetrators are known to the victims. So I know that for a fact, because for me, it was my uncle. My uncle, along with other older friends that I had, female friends. And so I'm talking about this right now. It's surreal because I never wanted to talk about it. Matter of fact, I thought the last thing I would be doing is writing a book for all of you to see and to know about my deepest secret. And as I'm saying this again, keep in mind, I'm not blaming anybody who chooses not to talk about it. Anybody who chooses that this is the kind of secret that nobody will ever know about. So why did I decide to do that? It's not the attention. Matter of fact, in a way, I loathe the attention. I've never been that guy, believe it or not. Even though I'm here talking to you right now, I don't like the attention. Well then, Smith, why are you doing it? The simple answer is that I feel led to. I feel like it's a calling to do so. I feel like it's a calling to write my book and talk about my experience, what I went through, how I endured everything, how the experience when I was a little boy, when it was happening, what it felt like, and how it affected my life growing up, how it affected my marriage, until I realized exactly what I was dealing with. So everything's going to be in the book. Please do think about buying it. And I really do think you're going to get a lot of value out of it. So I don't like the attention. I just feel like, for me personally, my personality has always been this way. So if I feel like there's something that I need to do, something that will change lives, something that is not just for my benefit, will help other people, can't live with myself knowing that I could have done something and just sit on my butt. I'm just not that kind of person. So that's just a little sidebar, right? Now, why do I think it's 2 to 3 times more than what the stats are saying? So evidence number 1 that I have is that it's easy to come across a CSA victim, right? So I decided to go on my TikTok channel and do a little market research, if you will. I wanted to see how prevalent this really is in the community, in the society, in the USA, right? I thought I would just go with the trend and just type, hey, listen, how are you coping with your CSA experience as an adult right now? And you'll be shocked to see some of the people who just, I don't know any of them. They decided to follow me. They decided to post. They decided to like the post. And it's one of those things. So before I even read those, this feels like me, the more and more I'm getting into writing the book, and I'm at the very last end and I'm finishing it up hopefully in the next month or so. So stay tuned. I'll let you know when it's available to be ordered. It feels like to me one of those things that it's like a dry land, a dry earth in need of some nice good rain to just bring it back to life. And what I mean by that is that it's one of those things. CSA, nobody is excited to talk about their abuse. Nobody is excited to just go on and just tell you how it felt and how embarrassed I am. Matter of fact, according to some of the research, it's a lot harder for men or for boys to come out and say, hey, listen, I was sexually abused. Nobody likes to do that because it's embarrassing. It's not popular. It's not popular amongst your friends. And guess what? It's certainly not popular when you tell your dad or your mother that, hey, Uncle so-and-so abused me, or Auntie so-and-so abused me. Oh, your best friend did this to me. That's a tough conversation. That's a tough things for either party to have to go through. So the result of that, it just stays in the dark. It hides in the dark. It just lurks in the dark. It becomes a secret that nobody likes to talk about. Nobody will talk about for all those things that I just stated. Then it continues. So it's not one of those who just stays in the dark. It stays in the closet. Nobody talks about it. As long as we don't talk about it, then it's not happening. It's certainly not one of those. It's a cancer. It's a cancer that, again, according to the stats that I believe is more than that because of the unreported ones, at least 2 out of 3 sexual assaults are unreported. 25 out of 1,000 sexual perpetrator will go to jail. The rest will just go on and keep doing the same thing over and over again until they get caught. And a lot of them, sadly, don't get caught. And those victims, they just continue to suffer. They continue to just stay in the dark. They continue to medicate themselves. They continue to just have no option but to suffer in silence, right? So again, I put that post on TikTok. I was just curious before I decided to do this video. I was like, I want to see how people are really feeling about this. I want to see how widespread it is. So I did that. I asked about what's the, tell me the most unhinged CSA experience now that you have to cope with in your adult life. And let me read you some of them. So I have this one person saying, maladaptive daydreaming. Understanding that my coping mechanisms may not be healthy, but they're healthier than the alternative. Credit card debt, rage room. Another user saying that I did martial arts all throughout my teen years, learned 3 different forms of sword fighting, archery, knife throwing. Also, I could feel like I would never be a victim again, only to get essayed as an adult. Man, those are hard stuff. So, right? So these are not people that I know, just people who just came out and just choose to share. Now, why do you think they choose to share? I hope you don't think that it's because they think it's convenient. Nobody knows me and stuff like that. Yeah, perhaps that's an aspect of it. You can choose to see it that way. But for me, what I'm seeing here, again, going back to that dry land, dry earth in need of some good rain, good watering, that's what I'm seeing here. Those people are in the dark. They have nobody to speak with. They have nobody who would truly understand them. They feel like they're alone. Then they seize that opportunity to talk about this right now, to let you know how they feel. But there's more, right? There's more. This one said, Maddie Grace, I pretend it didn't happen. It was just a dream. Sometimes it works, but it's not a good coping mechanism, LOL. Another one says, ever since I resolved in therapy, I use lots of humor. Before therapy, I was promiscuous, angry, and I blame myself. I used to take about an hour or more out of my day to sing in my car and cry. I would cry every second I was alone. Again, it's not just me saying that. People are medicating themselves. People are just doing whatever it is to cope with it. All because it's not mainstream. People are not talking about it because it's pretty frowned upon. Again, nobody likes to come out and tell you exactly how they feel, how they were molested, how they were sexually abused, any of that. It's not an easy thing. Another user says, I'm trying. Another one says, forgiveness, ? That's tough, but sounds more effective than what I've been doing. Another one says, pretending I had the best dad in the world and that I was so lucky to have someone who loved me so much until I literally could not pretend anymore and had to go to therapy for flashbacks of the CSA. Another one says, keeping the shame off of me. A shitty person did a shitty thing to me. That doesn't mean I'm shitty. Man, and it just keeps going. Another person wanted to use some humor and said witchcraft. Hey man, whatever works. Another person says drugs. A lot of people are doing that. Another person said EMDR, becoming a recluse. Oh my goodness. So guys, to back up my claim that it is a lot more than that, because a lot of people just don't talk about it. I'm one that never talked about it. For a lot of reasons. And crazy enough, a lot of reasons that I thought I shouldn't talk about it, I ended up reading about them. So it's not just me. So that's where I really started to get the strength, the courage that I would need to sit in front of you right now to be talking about this. Again, I don't take any pleasure in it. By nature, I'm very goofy and I love to just laugh and all that stuff, but I can't bring myself to laugh. Matter of fact, my heart is pretty knotted up right now because I'm letting out something that's been hidden for so long. But I'm a believer. I believe that's where healing lies. Whenever you let you let it out. The devil keeps you in captivity. You just let it out, right? Again, the whole purpose of me talking to you right now, part of this channel, is for truth, healing, and hope. So I believe if I'm gonna go about living my life, that this is the healing that I had the healing that I needed to get over it. I don't want to keep it to myself. So the answer is in the book. The answer is into me talking to you right now, and different people that I will be talking with. Hopefully next week I'll have somebody on to give you a female perspective of a CSA abuse victim. So now the second evidence, this one is huge. This one, we all see it, but we pretend we don't see it. Culture forces children to be exposed to it. Now don't go any further. You don't need to go far. Turn on your TV, go on YouTube, type just about any music video that you're gonna find out there. There's gonna be tremendous images of just the degradation of our society right now. The way people dress, the kind of stuff that they're doing. I mean, we're talking about rap music is one of the most destructive forms of entertainment for society when it comes to young kids. Because understand this, a young kid, before you even get to teenagehood, young kids are just sponges. I have 4 kids. I know that for a fact. I know that I was too. If we all gonna be honest to ourselves, with ourselves, you know how much you want it, you love to retain. You see it, you start imagining it, you start thinking about, how does this work? How would I do this? Like you want to try it out. You want to figure it out. You want to see, can I make it work? Can I try it? That's just who we are, right? So when you have a culture where everywhere you look, sex is being sold. Well, not really being sold, offered. It's on TV. It's not hard to access pornography. It's not hard to access all sorts of just images that are so destructive to your mind, to your soul. As adults, we see it and we start thinking about stuff that we don't even want to think about. Now think about a kid who does not have the direction, a kid that doesn't have the fortitude, like the mental fortitude, the maturity to digest those pictures, those images. How do you think they're gonna feel? You know, I believe culture is a huge part of this. I saw something not that long ago where pedophilia is being defended and they're rebranding it and calling it MAPS. I think the longer the culture continues that way, you may not connect the dots there, but sexual abuse are gonna keep happening. And sexual abuse is gonna keep happening, and the victims, sadly, will blame themselves. They will blame themselves and thinking that they did something wrong to deserve this. I know I did. I thought my uncle was my best friend for the longest time. I thought the older girls who were involved were my best friends. My peers were just in awe of me. Wow, dude, like, you a player, bro. I can't believe, really, her? Wow, that's so cool, bro. I can't believe it. It was worshipped. My peers worshipped it. That little circle of people who knew about it, they worshipped it. They wished it could be me. They loved what I had. So I grew up to think that it was okay. And when I learned that it was not okay was when I got married. And I started to opening up to my wife, and my wife really told me how, like, her jaw just dropped. She couldn't believe what I had gone through. And that's when she put a name to it. She said, "You were abused, honey." And from that point on, it was like a mental shift that I needed to do. And it took years. I talk all about it in the book. It took years, but I'm on the other side of that. So when I'm reading all the stats to you guys, again, when you see this episode, you take the time to listen to what I'm saying. It may not apply to you directly, but I can guarantee you it applies to somebody that you know. For example, quick example here, right? Where I live right now, my neighbor has been sexually abused as a kid. She knows at least 3 other people who have been sexually abused. So you might think that it's something that every once in a while you hear about that. Some creep just did this to this little girl. Some creep just did this to this little boy. You hear about, like, sometimes in churches, like, you know, like, wow, I couldn't believe that happened in churches and stuff like that. Trust me, it is more prevalent than you might think. And I'm saying that not to scare anybody, but to put you on alert. As a kid, be careful who you trust. As a parent, we owe it to our family, to our kids, to be more involved. Crazy enough, in other facts, when I read to you that 93% of perpetrators are known victims. That is so true. Again, let's go back to me. Let me use myself as an example. Who was my uncle? Who was my uncle? He was trusted within my family circle, to where if I go out somewhere with him, if I just disappear out of nowhere, my mom would say, "Oh, where's Smith?" Somebody would say, "I think he's with his uncle." "Oh, okay, cool. That's good. I thought he was alone. I mean, if he was alone, I would be worried. I would be calling him to get your butt back home, son. He's with his uncle. Who is his uncle? That's an authority figure. That's what 93% comes from. 93% are people that you trust, people that your parents trust, people that your environment trust, because they never think something like that would happen. Are you kidding me? Which is, again, another reason why victims feel the need to stay in the dark. Because if they come out and say, like, my uncle did that. If I came out and said, like, my uncle did that, nobody would believe me. As a kid, what are you talking about? You don't even know what you're talking about. Get your butt out of there, boy. Why are you slandering your uncle's name like that? What's gotten into you? Go do the dishes. I mean, coming from Haiti, it's frowned upon to even mention the word sex. Even though everybody knows that it's happening, we're not stupid. But mentioning it is just, in a way, it's like disrespectful. Now imagine me coming to my mom and saying something like that. Another fact that I read is that when a father figure is not in the picture, sexual abuse tend to happen a lot more frequently. Why? Because those predators, those perpetrators, they feel like that's their way in. No one's gonna, that's the path of least resistance. And when I started reading up on that, doing my research, really diving into it, it's just a light bulb. Ding, 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 ding. Stats. Every single one of them will belong. People, time to reply to or comment the most unhinged CSA experience and how they're coping with life right now. That's where that came from. And so culture is not doing us any it's not helping. Culture is doing us a disservice right now by the way that they're acting, but the way that they're conducting themselves. You got rap music, you have rappers, female rappers talking about the color of their buttholes, excuse my language. You got rappers talking about how you don't mess with them because they will shoot you, they will take your life, they deal drugs, they're calling women the B word, every other word is the N word. You got rock music just kind of talking about similar things, maybe a little bit less. You have music in general, it's just been so sexualized. Now don't get me wrong, I'm not saying it wasn't sexualized back in the day. I can make a case that it is more sexualized now. Or at least I can make a case that it is more available to see the perversion in it. Because if you want to say, well, back in the days in 1960, 1970, like in the 70s, man, like women were walking around almost with nothing on. Fine, fair case. I wasn't there. I'll take your words for it. But you know what you didn't have in the 70s? You didn't have TikTok, you didn't have Instagram, you didn't have Twitter, you didn't have all that stuff. For when you see it in California, it's happening in real time. Somebody in Africa, Haiti, Mexico couldn't see it. You were the only one seeing it, or the people there seeing it were the only ones. Our kids did not have access to social media the way they do now. Our kids didn't have access to the rest of the world and everything else that's happening in the rest of the world. So whether I'm making a case now that it is more prevalent or you want to refute that, that's fine. But one thing that you cannot refute is that it's the availability, it's the exposure of sex in our community right now. So the culture really, really and truly, with the way that things are going right now and the advent of social media and everything, really push it. Culture pushes the sexual perversion, the degradation of culture is just right there for everybody to see. And it's a shame. Now you might ask, well then, as you're saying that, so what do you think the answer is? Well, the answer, I think at the very least, parents ought to be parents. And what I mean by that, parents inculcate the right values into your kids. Instill what it is in your kids to have honor, integrity, to be somebody of value, of worth. Build a self-esteem in your kids. And don't be shy to talk about the nitty-gritty, the things that are very uncomfortable. Because if you don't, they will find out somehow. And the way that they find out will not help them. It's almost always going to be the wrong way when they find out. So do yourself a service, sit down with your kids and teach them the values that they need to learn so that tomorrow they don't need to go learn it from the streets, from a perverted uncle, perverted auntie, or a perverted best friend, a perverted family friend. So parents, do your job. Your job is not just to provide financially. Your job is also to provide mentally. Be there mentally, spiritually, emotionally. A little girl will always and always need their dad. A little boy will always need their mom. But in general, they need the two parents. Now, if you have to do it with one parent, it is what it is. Your job just doubled. And I still don't think you can do the opposite sex job. But at least I'm sure you're going to do the best you can. But at least don't give up on your kids. Don't give up on your kids. Do the extra work so that they won't be part of the stats. So that one day we can look at it and we see it used to be 25 out of 1,000 sexual perpetrators will go to jail, but it would be 1,000 out of 1,000 will go to jail. But best of all, it would be more like 25 out of 25 went to jail. That number will go down significantly, but we have to create that barrier. We have to create that wall that prevents those bad people to get to our kids. We have to be involved in our kids so that those people, when they're lurking around, we can just smell their butts, smell their asses around, and just like take the proper actions. So that's what you have to do. So again, you can go do your own research, and so, my sources are just those websites that I talked about: victimsofcrimes.org, lawrencekids.org, rain.org. That's rain with 2 N's. All the information is out there. Me as a victim of CSA, I feel like I owe it to the world to share my story and tell you what happened to me and how I'm able to get over it. And I want to go further than that. This podcast is about value. It's about truth. It's about healing. It's about hope. And I hope in the next few days, I'll be bringing more people to talk about CSA as my book is coming to an end, and I'm going to be, it's going to be available to be purchased soon. And I'm super excited. That's such a milestone for me to be able to say that, I have a book. But guys, I know a lot of people are doing this YouTube gig, right? I have my own business aside of that. I have a family of 4. That's my number one job, is to provide and be there for my family as I'm telling it to you. I practice what I preach. But this book, I truly think it will help you. When it comes out, please go order it. It will help you. It might not be for you. It might not be for your neighbor. It might not be for somebody that you don't even know yet. But knowing and understand what it takes and how to get out of it, how to prevent it, will help somebody. and you'll be glad to be in a position where you can actually do that. Thank you guys. Please subscribe, follow, like the video, send it to somebody you think would absolutely love to hear what I have to say. I'm going to keep coming with the truth. I'm going to keep coming with a healing voice, a hopeful voice, and we're all in this together, guys. So let's look out for each other. One love.